I hope so. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and if you're watching this, that means you are a very valued channel member for this YouTube channel, and you're watching the first members only live stream. This is my first time doing a live stream like this. I'm doing it right from my phone, no fancy software or anything like that. And yeah, essentially, we're just going to be hanging out. We're going to be talking to each other. I also don't have an external microphone set up with this because I don't have the proper splitter and I wanted to plug it in so that the phone doesn't die on us while we're doing this. So hopefully you can hear me okay and see me okay. Doesn't look like there's any lag on my end, but it might not show me any lag. So of course, if there's any issues that are happening or popping up, please let me know. Where am? I assume you mean where am I? You're on this channel, buddy. I am so sorry. Looks like we got a few people. We got three people. Goofy Orin, thanks so much for joining. I love the yeah, the slurp emoji. Hello Raptor, hi Apex, how are you doing? Great to see everybody here. Again, I assume everything looks decent enough. I think there's actually ways like to like I can put like filters on myself or something or like different lenses. I don't know if I want to try that out very much. Yeah, this is my first time doing it just from my phone. So there's probably a few things here that I don't exactly know how it works, but that's okay. We'll learn. Hi Mira, how are you? How are you doing today? I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. Bit of a slow start to the day. Some of it was, double, triple checking everything, making sure I could actually get this working. I think once I start doing streams more consistently, which is definitely going to be happening this year because I want to do it once every month, I think I'm going to get to the point where I can kind of set up things a lot quicker and I don't feel the need to like double and triple check like literally every aspect of it. But for a lot of the streams that I've done, like it just seems all I'm doing is making sure everything is where it should be, right? And even then, there was one stream where it like crashed on us like 10 to 15 minutes in, right? So you can't even guarantee everything's gonna work. Everything seems in order visually and audibly. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, Ali's or All's Justice just came out. I'm currently playing it. That's great. Oh my God, super chat. Sup Raptor. Hi Ray the awesome dude. Hello. Thank you so much for the super chat. I wasn't expecting anyone to do that because you guys are kind of already paying for this, but I appreciate the $2 so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. As far as the message above, All's Justice just came out. I'm currently playing it. That's great. I hope you're enjoying it. And yeah, hope you're doing great as great as well, Ray. Thank you so much for the $2. That honestly means a lot to me. But yeah, that's great. Hope you guys are doing okay. It's what is it? It's Friday. For me, it's 3 o'clock. So I kind of thought, I'll start this, around time, maybe if anyone's getting out of school or anything, they'll be able to join in. Of course, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the same time for all of you guys. But for everyone who is able to stop by, I very much appreciate it. So again, you can kind of like ask any questions you want, like, or we can just talk about whatever you want. We can talk about Death Battle. We can talk about just pop culture stuff in general. Or again, if you have any questions regarding like what's coming up for the channel or stuff, because now is kind of when I'm integrating myself more back into YouTube. Because up until now, I was kind of like I kind of feel like I'm on my break or my pseudo break. Especially once Ichigo versus Yusuke comes out, that's that's kind of when I'm going back into it fully. So this I do have my plans for the schedule again. Instead of podcast episodes every month, the plan is live streams every month. So that's part of it. Also the general thing where, there's hopefully a prediction and a reaction out every month. And then also, one or two extra videos on top of the prediction, the reaction, and the podcast. Well, oh my God, Ray, thank you so much. $5 extra. That's incredible. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, who is your most wanted death battle combatant to return, specifically to come back? That's interesting. I mean, I did make a whole video about that. Of course, it kind of depends on what you count as like returning. Because at the top of that video, I put Mickey Mouse, even though we've really only just seen King Mickey so far on Death Battle. So if you count Mickey, it's him, specifically because I want Mickey versus Bugs the most as a Death Battle. But if you don't count that, then probably Spider-Man. Really, the only reason I think why Spider-Man is lower than Mickey on that list is because I don't have like a solid preferred for Spider-Man right now because his spread like isn't, the best. But also, yeah, Mickey versus Bugs is my most wanted. So those would be like my two main answers. But again, I do have a whole video on this. You can go check that out if you want to get more combatants. Although I remember Bowser and Eggman and Spawn were in that video, and they've all now come back. Was Dante in that video? I think he might have been. Um, Wait, no, I don't think he was. Either way, I was happy to see Dante come back as well. But yeah, you can go check that out if you want to see all my other picks. Um, sure, Bugs versus Mickey is a highly requested battle. I mean, yeah, it's incredibly requested. It is my most wanted right now. It's been my most wanted ever since Galactus versus Unicron came out because it was Stitch versus Rocket, then Galactus versus Unicron, both of which happened in the same season, and then yeah, now it's Mickey versus Bug. It has been Mickey versus Bugs for a while, and unless it happens like this season or something, it's gonna remain my most wanted for quite a while. Um, did you see Levitation's new 096 versus Toru fan-made sneak peek? No, I don't think I did. Although I think is it Brandon Yates? Like he put up like a premiere for a custom track for that. I think I saw that he's doing that. As far as that video specifically you're referring to, I don't think so, but I can definitely check that out. That seems really awesome. Dante was one of my most wanted to return, but it was bittersweet. I mean, yeah, if you're really looking forward for Dante to return and then he doesn't win, that can be a little sour. I understand, but I still think Dante versus Clive is. I frankly think it was one of the best episodes of 2025. So I'm still really happy that we got that. Low key, all of the returning characters is more proof that Raptor works for Death Battle. Yeah, low key, right? Yeah. Yeah. No, I wish I worked for Death Battle in some kind of capacity. The funny thing is though, is like when people say, "Oh, I work for Death Battle because I know so much," what even would be my job? Like their PR person, their like social media person. Like I don't even know what I'm doing right now doesn't constitute as any like specific job for Death Battle. So I don't even know what people are referring to when they say that. But if I was to do anything for Death Battle, I mean, it might be. I want to say editing because I do edit my own videos, but like I don't know how to do half the things that, the editors are doing now. I feel like it would have to be more maybe along the lines of writing. I feel like because that's like the other part of the video making process that I feel like really in tune with, I guess. Maybe that's what I would have to do. I know, right? You're the mascot. That's how it works. I'm the mascot. Ash versus Yugi is definitely my favorite episode in general. For a lot of people, it definitely is. Hell, like if I was really invested in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh when I was growing up, who knows? Maybe it would have been mine as well. I think for a lot of people, for if Ash versus Yugi is their favorite, it means they watch the shows. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, like that's a huge reason why a lot of people see it as their favorite, but I think it's the kind of script that really appeals to the people who were already familiar with the characters and hold them dear to their heart, right? So I totally get that. So this is confirmation that you write for Death Battle. Actually, if you listen to what I said, that was not confirmation, but that would be really cool. I'm Canadian. I don't even know how I don't think there's like applications open for jobs. I'm still looking for a job, by the way, of course. Working for Death Battle or doing anything in that kind of space would be like the dream job. There are times when I'm doing YouTube and I'm thinking, oh well, sometimes this is so frustrating. Like it's I'm doing so much work for this channel. Like, would I really want to do this like as a job? But honestly, now that I've worked other jobs, I can safely say that like, no, 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 YouTube is better. If I could actually like make a living wage from this, I would absolutely do it. Of course, though, I'm in a pretty specific niche that doesn't really allow me to make enough money for that. But of course, I'm not doing it for the money. If I was doing it for the money, I would have quit forever ago. I do make, some money off of it per month, but, not nearly enough to live on. But it's a little like extra thing, right? That's kind of what the memberships are also for. Again, I appreciate you guys so much for being members. Hi, Fiction. Thank you so much for joining. I'm doing good. What's up with you? Hope you've had a good day. Speaking of Stitch versus Rocket, there's a mod for Rocket with Stitch being over him. Do you mean like Marvel Rivals, or when you say mod for Rocket, what do you mean by that? I'm not 100% sure, but either way, that sounds cool. I mean, I think that's very fitting. Rocket and Stitch are incredibly similar characters. It wasn't too long ago. The Final Fantasy, what is that? Final Fantasy VII Remake was on Switch 2. Now we get Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on Switch 2. Okay, great. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I do not have a Switch 2 still. I've played a Switch 2 a little bit because my friends have one, but frankly, there was not nearly enough incentive for me to pay for that, at least not right now. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it really ever gets to that point. But that's really cool. Yes, Marvel Rivals. Okay, cool. Just listening to the new Fairwolf track, it's amazing. Um, do you mean for is that the Ichigo versus Yusuke track, or do you mean like the custom Fairwolf track? If so, I don't think I've seen that yet. But that sounds cool. I'll have to check that out. Also, sweeping the house, not amazing. I mean, sometimes you get stuck doing stuff you don't like doing. Thankfully, I'm not on dog walking duty today, so I'm actually able to, sit here for a while. I should say I do not know how long this is going to go on for. Again, I started at 3. I know like it definitely wouldn't go on for like longer than 3 hours, but again, I don't really want to do the stream for that long. Most of my streams these days, like the ones at my laptop and with my streaming software, it goes on for so much longer than I'm expecting. But like, I still get viewers coming in to watch it, so like I don't think that's a bad thing if it goes on for a little longer. But for this, if I really had to guess, I would say maybe somewhere between 1 and 2 hours, just so like people can pop in and out. But of course, if things start dying down, that there's no worry with that. Um, do you have a PS2 yet? I've never had a PS2. Or do you mean PS5 when you say yet? I've never had either of those. I've only, as far as PlayStation goes, I've only had a PS3. And funny story, the only reason why I switched to a PS3 from the Wii, because I had the Wii for a really long time, like probably an embarrassingly long time. The only reason why I actually switched from a Wii to a PS3 was because I got the Disney Infinity game, and Disney Infinity didn't allow you to do multiplayer on the Wii because I wanted to play with my brother, right? And they never said that in like any of the marketing. We had to like look it up specifically and be like, why can't a second player join? And it's like, oh my God. So then we ended up switching to a different console after we already bought the game for the Wii. That was really fucking annoying. I think they're referring to the 096 Toru track. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, Fiction confirmed that. Okay. That's a Fairwolf track? Okay, I guess I must have thought that was a Brandon Yates track. That's why I thought you were referring to something else. But okay, if that's a Fairwolf track, that's cool. Either way, or are they both doing one? Actually, I don't know now. But either way, whichever one is out right now, I'll definitely have to take a look at that. But yeah, as far as video games, it's still mainly just my Switch right now. Although I guess if we include like any kinds of online games or whatever, I've been doing a lot of those like Wordle type games. I've gotten a lot more into that, so I would do like Wordle. There's this other game called I think it's pronounced Contexto. That's a fun game as well that I've been playing. So yeah, like just some of the stuff on my phone to kill some time. And also the wonderful game of of what is it? Job hunting, right? That's like the main game I'm doing. That sucks. A console that that brought families together lacked multiplayer support for Disney Infinity. I mean, yeah, like, and the weird thing is that they still released it for Disney Infinity, but that was the one instance where it's just like, no, yeah, you can't do multiplayer. I know. I see a super chat. Oh my God, $10. Thank you so much. I just want to go through the other questions and I'll get right to you. Did you see the collab song with Brandon Yates and Johnny? I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize, but Johnny. No, I guess I have a lot of catching up to do, but this is a lot of stuff that I'll have to check out afterwards. I assume you like it though. How was it? Um, I still have my Wii. Super Smash Bros. Brawls is forever on my game. Oh yeah, I kept the Wii for a while to do Super Smash Bros. Brawl because I have it on the Wii as well, obviously. But then my Wii also burnt out. So even if I got my Disney Infinity game for the Wii, I wouldn't be able to play it anyway. My Wii just doesn't work anymore. So the moral of the story is the Wii, I guess, just sucks. No, the Wii is awesome. The Wii is my childhood, but yeah, what's your favorite Death Battle track? Mine is definitely Millennial Monsters. I have it on repeat. I got so much more into Millennial Monsters over like the last month or so. Like I have been enlightened to it. So that's great. My favorite Death Battle track of all time might be Game Over, but there's a lot of other good ones, especially recently, like Solid State Invincible. What is it? Spiral of Emotion. Also, You Say Danger. You Say Danger fucking rocks. So I have so many. It's so hard to pick one, but those are just some examples of like newer stuff. de facto answer game over, but I don't know for sure. Um, but yeah, Overlord AKX, thank you so much for the $10. Hello Raptor, can't stick around for too long, but I gotta ask, we're nearing the 5th year without a fighting game episode, and I'm curious to hear what you think could be a likely fighting game matchup. So yeah, for fighting games specifically, so it depends on what you mean by fighting game. Like if you mean fighting game versus fighting game, then I'll have to think about that for a little bit. As far as any fighting games at all, though, I think Scorpion versus Wolf is the next logical one. Wolf obviously is not from, a fighting game. So I don't know if you count that. But as far as like fighting game versus fighting game, that is tough because I'm trying to think of like all the major ones like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken. Like I don't know, maybe after Akuma versus Shao Kahn, they didn't really feel the need to do any more like that. But I don't know. I kind of feel like they could still do well. Although to be fair, I think some of them kind of fall into like a connections trap where it's not really, the connections aren't amazing. Like there are a lot of fighting game matchups where I think you could see that. And Liu Kang versus Jago would have been my answer for like a few years. Now I'm kind of thinking maybe not so much. So instead of that one, I'm trying to go through like a lot of the characters. I don't know. I feel like Scorpion versus Wolf is like with any fighting game characters, like that's kind of the one that I'm thinking of right now. What was like the most? Oh, and also like maybe something with Johnny Cage, especially with the new Mortal Kombat movie. I was thinking like Johnny Cage versus Joseph Joestar, maybe. Again, though, only one fighting game character. Fighting game versus fighting game is difficult because I don't really have a good reason to believe like any of them are necessarily going to happen. Like what Melina versus Juri, for instance. Like I don't really have a good reason to think that one's going to happen. That's just one I thought off the top of my head, so I'm not sure. But either way, thank you so much for the $10. I hope that was a decent answer to your question. And yes, Dr.Fiction sweeping sucks, but so is cleaning the gutters. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of chores out there that, they're called chores for a reason, right? I had the original Skylanders on Wii. Yes, I had the first two Skylanders on Wii, and then every Skylanders game after that I had for PS3, because I kind of switched over there, including Swap Force and then onwards. Um, Whoops, that was supposed to say Johnny. I still don't know how to pronounce that in good faith. But the Crush 40 guy, okay, I see what you're saying. You Say Danger, yeah, but You Say Danger is a great track. When will we watch MLP together? I don't know, soon maybe. Where would you want to start? Like, would you want to start from the beginning, or is it more like you want to show me like your favorite episodes or something? I don't know. The Devil Inside is one I can listen to over and over again. Yeah, I was on a kick for that one for a little bit. Not as much as maybe I used to be, but there was a time where I basically had it on repeat. Yeah. Um, Either or really, fighting game versus fighting game or fighting game versus non-fighting game. Then my answer right now I think would be Scorpion versus Wolf. I think that's the one that Death Battle would kind of be like, yeah, this one makes sense to do. That's the one I would go with. Oh, Spinal versus Cervantes. Yeah, that's they've done that for Skeletober, so they're definitely aware of that matchup. Although again, there's a lot of matchups where it's like, would they do it for Halloween or could they do it for a different time? Because theoretically, they can do whatever matchups whenever they want, but there are some maybe that they want to specifically say for Halloween. And if I were to guess like what the Halloween episode is going to be this year, it would not be Spinal versus Cervantes. But if we remove that from the thought process and more so just think like, yeah, a fighting game matchup, that's a big one. I should have thought of that one. So for sure, yeah, that could be cool. King versus Incineroar, yeah, that's another one. Tekken, again, like that's one where it's fighting game versus non-fighting game. But yeah, that's another one that's gotten some more buzz lately. That's pretty cool. What are your how far are we in far as the chat? Okay, because I want to try to go through as many individual messages as possible because we have, it's not going to be like a lot of people watching the stream at once. But it's okay. So let's just try to do that for now. What are your genuine thoughts on stomp matchups? So I've kind of talked about this before, but like it does kind of feel like a little case by case basis thing. Sometimes I think, excuse me. Sometimes I think it depends on how big of a stomp it is. Sometimes I think, is it just a stomp because, you have the versus debater brain, and just based on like comparing series to each other, that's the only reason why it's a stomp? Or is it also a stomp just to anybody, even whether or not they're in the versus space? Because that, I think, is a lot less excusable if like anybody can tell it's a stomp. But as far as, oh, you only know it's a stomp because, again, you're in the versus debate space and you've kind of just been doing this for so long. In that instance, I think that's more excusable, because they still have to make matchups for, non-hardcore fans, right? Because some people might look at a matchup, they might not know it's a stomp, but they're like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I want to click on that and watch it. So, that's kind of how I see that. And I do think that overall connections and animation potential are more important than stomps by and large. But again, that's kind of a case-by-case thing. I think a matchup that is debatable but doesn't really like work as a death battle, like that's, I think that's way worse than like, oh yeah, this definitely works. But it's just kind of one-sided, right? So case by case, obviously it would be really cool if all matchups were not, if all matchups were debatable, but the sad truth is it's just not. So the complicated answer, but that's the most genuine way I can put it. We would start with the pilot and then go from there. A lot of season 1 isn't great. Oh, so we would start with the not great stuff? Okay. Fair enough, I guess. It's funny that you say Danger's my favorite track, is how Spider Deku is my number 1 of all time. I mean, sometimes that is how it goes, right? Like, even earlier, someone said Millennial Monsters is their favorite track, Pokemon versus, or almost said Pokemon versus Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm thinking Pokemon versus Digimon here, but like Ash versus Yu-Gi-Oh! Your favorite episode. Sometimes that is the way it works. Bowser, again, even for me, Bowser versus Eggman is arguably my favorite episode. It's on my Mount Rushmore at least, right? I feel like I'm shaking the phone too much. But Bowser versus Eggman is one of my favorite episodes, and Game Over is one of my favorite tracks. Sometimes that is the way it works. Goku Black versus Reverse Flash was my favorite episode for a while. Reverse Rose was my favorite track for a while. Sometimes that literally is just how it is. Spiral of Emotions liking my favorite. I mean, that one rocks for sure. Whatever happened to DBX? I mean, I think part of it is, going independent. They kind of want to put all their resources into the episodes, which I can understand. Part of the reason why I think season 10 was so good was because there wasn't anything like Death Race or DBX or Desk of Death Battle to distract them or draw attention away from the episodes. So while I do miss DBX, I kind of would only want it back if they know for sure they can do it while maintaining the current quality of the Death Battle episodes. And my guess is either they don't think they can do that, or they literally just don't have the funding for it right now, right? Because they're still making cuts in some places. We still don't have animated Whiz and Boomstick segments, which I don't think is horrible, that they decided to cut that, but still, like, they still have to make it work as best as possible. Ringmaster found dead in Miami? No, what? No way. If we were to get a Tekken episode, my bias immediately goes to Penny Polendina versus Alina Boskonovich. I think that's how you pronounce that. That sounds cool. The main one I'm hearing for Penny is Serial Designation N from Murder Drones, but I know Penny does have. I know Penny also has like Zane from Ninjago. Like she's got a few different matchups out there. That's pretty cool. My all-time favorite is for sure Inhuman. Okay, very nice. But as far as the indie era goes, I love You Say Danger. Yeah, You Say Danger is so good, man. That literally feels like it could be a part of like a Spider-Verse soundtrack. Like that's how faithful it is. But I love how it's also evocative of My Hero Academia. You can hear some what's it called, Strongest Alive in like especially at the beginning. You can hear it like in the background. Like so good. Let's keep going. Apex, you keep getting more and more based, my friend. He is a based guy, absolutely. Would you like the animated Whiz and Boomstick segments back? Maybe. Again, if it was drawing resources away from other aspects and like you could very clearly notice that, then no, I wouldn't really want that. It'd be nice to see them again, but at the same time, I never found a lot of those segments funny or like not like ball bustingly hilarious, right? So some of them could be funny, but I feel like Death Battle's kind of at its best when they're emphasizing the ridiculousness of the characters and using that for the humor, whereas the cutaways are basically just like, oh no, we're not talking about that. We're instead going to go on like a tangent with Wiz or Boomstick specifically, and I don't think they do that humor as well. So the answer is yes, it would be cool to see it again. But I don't think it's a huge loss. I think there were definitely worse options they could have done as far as as far as budget cuts or like making sacrifices. I was also thinking of Karen versus Lily, I assume. Street Fighter versus Tekken, another fighting game episode. There was another fighting game episode I was actually thinking, which I think was Street Fighter versus Tekken, but I can't remember the name. Like I think it's like JP versus somebody. If someone knows what I'm talking about, let me know. But I think there's another matchup that I was thinking about when there was the fighting game question before, but I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't remember both the characters' names. But yeah, that's another one I've also been hearing. So yeah, Street Fighter versus Tekken. There at least I think it was Street Fighter and Tekken. I guess maybe I could be getting something wrong there, but yeah, ball bustingly hilarious. Yeah. Oh yeah, how do you guys like the emotes, by the way? I can definitely change some emotes around if people aren't really like using them that much. I love Raptor quotes. I mean, yeah, sorry. I say out of pocket stuff sometimes, I guess. Um, but yeah, if you guys like the emotes, of course, they're there at your disposal. Also the badges, I don't think anyone would be past the first badge. Right now I have badges up until 1 year. And maybe I could update it for later after that, but like we definitely don't need any for like 2 years just yet because no one we're not going to get there until 2 years from now. But as far as the emotes, I have filled up all the emote slots as much as I can right now. I picked stuff that I thought was fun, but of course, if there are some that aren't getting that much use, I could maybe swap some out. But I appreciate when people use it in the comments. That's pretty cool. I see the Stitch one being used as well. When are we getting the Raptorverse versus 4chan? Oh my fucking god, imagine. No idea. You're talking about JP versus Victor. That's the one. Yeah, I forgot Victor's name. That's the one I'm talking about. Thank you so much. Yeah. I don't even know that much about that matchup. That's just one that I know of, like, when I think of fighting game matchups. That's one that was kind of in my head, but again, I didn't really think to say it because didn't remember Victor's name. So I thought, like, might as well not bring it up. But then someone brought up Street Fighter versus Tekken. It's like, okay, I'll bring it up. Why not? Hey, why can't you add the reverse flash ugly smile emote? Oh yeah, the was that important. That's one that I have on my on the Discord. That's an emote we have in the Discord server. And there are a couple emotes that are shared here in the Discord, but I didn't want to go overboard with that because then it's like people in the Discord don't really get anything new. And that emote specifically, the Thawne one, that was one that was suggested by one of the members. So that's one where it's like, okay, I'll put that one in for now. I think it's all right, you know. Anyway, let me scroll up a little bit. Perhaps a new emote could be Obi-Wan's. Oh yeah, right. I think that's an emote in like either the official Death Battle Discord or like the Judgment server or something. That's a good one. If I ever wanted to swap one out, I could definitely do that. Yeah. It's just a matter of if people would use it, if there's enough like appropriate times to use it. But for live chats, that you can just use emotes whenever you want. So yeah, that could be cool. Who is your favorite mod and why is it not Zero? I love all my mods equally, obviously, including you, Fiction. Thank you so much for being a good mod. Thank you to all the mods for all the work that they do because it's awesome. The GOAT Seba made JP versus Victor. Really? Okay, I feel like I've seen that in other places. Maybe it's just spread around then. But okay, cool. If it actually was his own original matchup, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I've seen that just in my own server though. But again, maybe it's spread from that point, or maybe multiple people came up with the same matchup. That happens all the time. I thought I created Doodle Bob versus Doppelganger as like a bit of a joke, maybe not joke matchup, but like more of like a niche matchup. But then I saw like it was also being talked about in other places. Same thing happened with Q versus Mr. Miggs's Pidalick, but like many years ago, right? Hey Raptor, why do we tell actors to break a leg? So I've been told that the reason, like on social media, the reason why that's the case is because they hope you end up in a cast. But that doesn't really make a lot of sense because you say break a leg before the show. You don't say it, well, I guess you could say it before an audition, but usually you say it before the actual show. And at that point, you've been in the cast the whole time. So that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I feel like maybe some people just kind of put that connection together, but I think it's more of a coincidence because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Oh yeah, we have the boomstick emote and the Raptor Viet well the Rapture emote, like the whole like Vietnam thing. I also have boomstick right here. Because of course I have him right next to me all the time. But yeah, I feel like I had to make plush stick an emote, you know? Yeah, we got all the Vietnam ones. That's great. Keep sending Zero love, of course. Yeah, keep sending all you guys love. I literally got done fighting Zero in UMC V3 not that long ago. That's cool. That's really cool. Um, yeah, because every play has a cast. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was expecting. Yeah. He already figured it out. He's so no. It's not that I figured it out. It's that I've seen that said before. Again, maybe that is actually the reason. If it is though, I think that's just a bit of a stretch because it doesn't make a lot. Take it from someone who did a lot of theater in high school. It just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. What were your thoughts on Leopold the Brave? I watched some of his stuff. I wasn't. I don't know if I was ever subscribed to his channel or if I watched anything like religiously. I don't like. Is there a reason? Because I don't think he's posting anymore, right? Is there a reason why he left? If so, I'm not aware of that. But sometimes I would watch like the universes videos or some. I think did he do some Death Battle reactions? I think he did. I watched some of his stuff. Yeah. But I think he's gone now because I haven't seen him like in a long time. Um, I've heard break a leg refers to a deep bow. Okay, that would be at the end of the show. But I mean, okay, yeah, I don't really leave me alone. Sorry, Mira. No. I think Zero as a mod, not the Mega Man X character, who is also my favorite Mega Man character. Mega Man X or just X, I suppose. He might be my favorite Mega Man. I think there's a good argument to make for that. I do also like Zero though. I think generally, yeah, I do like Mega Man X mostly, like that general specific series of it, you know. They booed me in the server. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Um, what are your thoughts on YouTubers being in death battle as combatants? Example, angry video game nerd versus nostalgia critic. So I've kind of said this a few times, and I feel like I haven't really ever properly articulated this, that I think for some YouTubers, it could work, but it would not interest me. It's not the kind of thing that would ever really get me hyped. And maybe that's because I'm not really watching as many individual YouTube personalities as I used to. Or maybe it's just that I prefer, uh, just other characters, like regular characters, so to speak, stuff that you would tend to find, just in pop culture more so than like the internet. I don't know. Obviously there's like cartoons on the internet and stuff. You know what I mean, though. It just wouldn't appeal to me that much. I wouldn't really ever be that hyped for it. I do think though that some YouTubers would work better for it than others, depending on like the YouTuber's persona, their character, the lore around that specific character, Angry video game nerd versus nostalgia critic, maybe I'd be able to get on board with that one because that's the one I see being talked about a lot. But then there are other ones where it's just like I'm just not that interested in it. But I know there are a lot of people that would be interested in it, but I don't think that necessarily means it will happen on Death Battle. But of course, you're allowed to talk about matchups however you want, whether they're likely or not, as long as we just keep our expectations in check, right? That's always what I say. That more variety is better in these discussions. You just got to make sure you keep your expectations in check. And if you're pleasantly surprised, then that's great too. I watched one episode of that, and two episodes I disagree with. Holy are Knuckles versus Ryu and Bayonetta versus Shadow. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I ever watched those episodes specifically. But yeah, when you go to other versus shows, there are definitely going to be times where you disagree with stuff. Even my own versus show, Who and Why, there were disagreements that popped up from time to time. You're not going to be able to agree with everybody, and that's not even really the point, right? The point is to come to your own personal conclusion that makes sense to you, and you just share it with people. Of course, you want to get that conclusion to be like as backed up as possible, as logical as possible, but you don't have to agree with everybody. You don't have to go with the majority. What I meant to say was I watched universes before, not all episodes. All right. Have you played Undertale and or Deltarune? If so, which do you prefer? I haven't played either of those, no. Um, so I don't really have a preference there. But yeah, no, obviously I've heard great things about those games. I can say though that if I was going to play one of them and like really get started into that, I would want to start with Undertale. I think that makes sense. But at this current moment, no, I haven't played either of those. Do you think Luzan will ever happen? Easy answer, no. No, 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 it will happen. I'm almost 100% sure it will happen. I'm just a little concerned it's going to end up being like Steven Universe versus Star Butterfly or Among Us versus Fall Guys, where it happens later than it should. And we've been waiting for it so long, and like it's kind of been like losing relevance slowly to the point where I would say that if it doesn't happen this year, then Death Battle failed at doing it at the most relevant time. I'm honestly, I do believe that because they said outright that they didn't want to do the same thing they did with Steven versus Star and wait until the relevance is like basically gone. I think if they wait until 2027 or later, then they just failed at that. That's just me though. I'm just saying, if they want to do it at a relevant time, now is like the last time to do it. Like this year, I wholeheartedly believe that. I keep having to scroll up because I'm taking too long to answer these questions. What are your thoughts on composite actors in Death Battle, like composite J.K. Simmons or composite Jack Black? They are fun thought experiments and would be fun to see, in my opinion. Of course, as hypotheticals, yeah, that is a lot of fun. As far as actually happening on the show, the one that I know Death Battle was considering before was Arnold Schwarzenegger versus Sylvester Stallone. But of course, I think that either that got replaced by Terminator versus RoboCop, or they just decided to do that instead and then decide not to do the I think it would be cool as long as the actors have enough stuff to work with. Personally, I think out of all of them that I've seen, Schwarzenegger versus Stallone is still like the one that would appeal to me the most, just based on the characters that they have, you know? By the way, what are the odds that Bad Battle and Who and Why return? I Sorry, one second. Sack, did you just become a member? Oh my God. Hi, Sackinator. How you doing? Didn't expect to see you here, Pookie. Sorry. I really want we at least we got a new member then. Yay, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Zach, for joining. I just know you weren't a member until right now. Anyway, sorry, back to the question. What are the odds that Bad Battle and Who and Why return? I will say, I will give you a direct answer that Bad Battle would be more likely to return than Who and Why, I think. Just because it doesn't take as much of my time. That as long as I could, get, come up with enough matchups where I can come up with enough funny things to say about them. Because not all matchups I think are really designed for that show. Like there has to be enough material I can work with. But that overall that would take not as long to do. With Who and Why, I think I've said before that if I were to bring it back, I would do it on YouTube Shorts and just have it be like 3 minutes of essentially just like describing how powerful the characters are as I'm saying the conclusion. So it's like 3 minutes of conclusion, but still trying my best to analyze the characters as, as in depth, but also as succinctly as possible. Because again, it's just 3 minutes. That's what YouTube Shorts allows for, right? But I would still have to do like the same amount of research, the same amount of, well, not the same amount of writing, but like the same amount of research, probably more editing that I did before. And I have kind of been doing this thing where I'm reposting some of my versus matchup review videos as shorts, like individual matchups to see like how well individual matchup discussion goes on my channel if I were to do those as shorts. And they seem to be doing decently well. But again, Who and Why would take so much more effort. Again, if this was my full-time job, I would have enough time to do it, and I would love to do it. But it's always a matter of you never gain more free time as you get older, you just lose it. And there was a time where I was making Who and Why at a lower rate, and I thought, oh well, this won't last forever. I'll get less busy at some point. I was so fucking naive because that's just not the way it works, right? I would love to bring Who and Why back. Never say never. But if I was going to bring one of them back first, it would be Bad Battle, and even then, I can't confirm anything, right? Because my focus does need to be finding a job and seeing how well I can do my I want to say work-life balance, but at this point it would be work balance, like working and then actually like working for YouTube. So I don't know. I don't have a specific like a percent of chances for you. I would love to bring him back, but it's always a matter of like what is my timing? How much do I have? And, clearly it just hasn't been in my favor for a while. Anyway, now I gotta scroll back up because I missed a lot of stuff. Me and Fiction on the same wavelength. That's pretty cool. My life has no meaning if Lose versus Ann doesn't happen this year. I mean, Lose versus Ann isn't even one of my most wanted death battles, but I can recognize that if they're gonna say, oh, we should do it when it's relevant, then you should do it when it's relevant. I do agree with that, right? So even though Finn and Jake versus Mordecai and Rigby, for example, or Jimmy Neutron versus Dexter especially, I want to see those much more than Lose versus Ann, is the kind of thing where I think Lose versus Ann is the no-brainer for a cartoon matchup. But it's been that way for the last couple years. So who knows at this point? Congratulating Sack. Yeah. Gotta support my homie. Well, I appreciate that, man. I really do. Ask Raptor what he thinks about Tarhos versus... I don't know how to pronounce that. That sounds interesting, though. I've seen that one been floating around. That sounds pretty cool. If he likes Vittorio, we riot. Oh, love the inside jokes. I don't think he plays DVD. Well, I know Vittorio Toscano. Oh, you're referring to the Tarhos, yeah, or DBD or For Honor, yeah. At work and on my break at work and on break came to say something. I can't read right now. Thank you, Metal. I appreciate that. I'm not going to try reading your message again, but I know what you're saying. Thank you for showing up. Has anybody, probably not Raptor, owned Claire Obscure? You're right. I have not owned Claire Obscure Expedition 33, right? That's what it is. But if anyone else has, that's really cool. It won fucking everything, right? The Game Awards? Jesus Christ. Ah, crap. Hide the stuff. Metal is here. Yeah, hide all your swap cards. To be fair, Death Battle is pretty bad at doing matchups when the characters' franchises are relevant. Steven versus Star, Joker versus Giorno, and Among Us versus Fall Guys being a good example, or rather at the height of their relevancy. Oh yeah, no. There are some where, it's very clear that like it was past the ideal point. But I do think there are instances where they do it at the ideal point. Omni-Man versus Homelander, for example, I think it is a great example of doing it like at a really good point. Like, didn't that episode come out less than a year after the first season of Invincible, or did it? Actually, I'm not sure. When did Invincible come out, and then when did Omni-Man versus Homelander come out? Either way, I think that was a good... If you're trying to talk about relevancy, I think that works. And yes, maybe there are times where Death Battle hasn't been so good at that. Doesn't mean I don't wish they could do better at it, right? I still think if they're trying to do something and there is an easy way to do it at a relevant time, then do it at the fucking relevant time, right? I do agree, though, that yes, there are instances where they don't do it as well, but I think they should do it better. If Death Battle did more mascots, would love to see Chuck E. Cheese versus Ronald McDonald. Okay, cool. For me, I'm just waiting for the Cereal Mascot Battle Royale. That's like the one I'm really thinking of. Are you I can't roll my R's. Are you Krobo Productions? Thank you so much for the $2, Sack. Actually, can I give that a heart? Am I? Oh, no, don't. I almost banned you by accident. Okay, I give that a heart. I should be I should be hearting all the super chats. Am I able to scroll up and do that? We have a few other super chats. I'm just gonna go back and heart them because it's amazing you guys are super chatting even just because you guys are paying for this, right? You're seeing this, but like you guys are so incredibly supportive. Like honestly, not just you guys, but especially you guys. Best community there is. Like as far as like a sub Death Battle community, so to speak, haven't really seen a better one. Raptor, have you been collecting cereals perchance? Yes, I collect cereals, 1,000 cereals. It took me 9 years to collect the cereals. Yum yum cereals, good. Okay, check. Yes, Omni-Man came out after the... No, I knew it came out after the first season of Invincible. I was aware of that. But I think it came out... not like immediately after the first season, but like within a year, I think, or maybe a little over a year, but like something like that. It was pretty quick to the point where it's like, well, can they not do that with other matchups? Is it really that difficult? And again, yes, like going back to the Steven versus Star thing, yes, like there are times where that is the case, but like we literally Death Battle said on like one of their streams or one of their videos or something that they did not want to wait for Loser versus Ann. So either they forgot about it or they changed their mind, or like maybe 2026 is literally the earliest they can do it. But again, if it doesn't happen, I'm gonna say they failed. Like if I'm gonna say they failed at that idea, which is not the end of the world, but I think it is in their best interest to do stuff when stuff is relevant. What else we got? Thanks, Raptor. Yeah, no problem. Of course, of course. I got paid yesterday, so why not? I still appreciate it, though. Like, that's still your hard-earned money, so I still very, very much appreciate it. I prefer Ronald versus Burger King, to be honest, even if it's a stomp in Ronald's favor. I mean, that's kind of one of those ones where you're kind of thinking if they're gonna put Ronald in a death battle, would it not just make sense to put him against Burger King, because that's the one that everybody knows, right? And if you're trying to answer the biggest versus questions, is that the one they should just do no matter what, right? I think there are some versus matchups that are kind of so. This kind of goes back to the stomp question we got from like a little while back, that like some versus questions are so big that it's like I can kind of understand Death Battle doing them even if it is completely one-sided, because they're trying to answer the biggest versus questions, and biggest doesn't necessarily mean toughest. It just means like the biggest ones that exist in the world, right? So yeah, I understand. I understand wanting Ronald versus Burger King. From the original F-Zero game to F-Zero 99, I wonder if you can rank the games from weakest to best, whether you own them or not. Well, if I was gonna make like a video on that, or just do it right here, I feel like I would have to own them, right? I feel like I have to have played them, right? And as far as the F-Zero games go, yeah, Smash Bros is my best. That's my closest tie to that, unfortunately. Yeah, no, there are definitely some games that I know are popular, but it's like either I didn't have the right console to play them. Like if we're talking about like early 2000s games that were available on the Switch, there's a decent chance I played some of those. Like the Lego games, Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, that was my fucking jam, right? I love that game. There's a lot of games I owned on the Wii, and then when I switched over to the PlayStation 3, I did also keep getting some games, but the height of like how many video games I owned at once was definitely when I was younger. Again, just you lose time, right? You don't have a lot of time to play as much as maybe you'd like. Although I still try to make time to play Smash Bros with my brother. That's the one thing where like I make sure to make time for that. It came out in May 2022, and Invincible Season 1 came out March to April 2021. So a little over a year. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. You just got called into work? Oh my God. Like literally right now, for right now? That's crazy, man. What the hell? I know this was the job that we were because we were talking about like after I quit my job, like you were even thinking like you were gonna quit your job or whatever. This is the same job, right? But then eventually it got a little better. Of course, sometimes you just get called into work, especially if this is the kind of line of work that you're doing. Sometimes I understand that, but like some work environments are the fucking worst, bro. I can definitely say that like I know what that's like. I have that experience now. But I'm really sorry about that. I don't know if you can decline that or not, but you might want to do it anyway. Either way, I'm really sorry. Oh, okay, more money for you. At least, yeah. If you're happy with that, for sure. For my job, I was doing so much overtime to the point where it was like I don't give a shit about the money anymore. I just want to have my freedom back. But for sure, yeah, if you want the money, go get that money. Composite Chuck E. Cheese versus composite Freddy Fazbear intrigues me. Yeah, I've seen versions of Chucky and Freddy before, naturally. More monies for Raptor to extort. Yeah, no. The money that you make today, keep that for yourself, for sure. Again, you got paid. You gave us, again, I incredibly appreciate the super chats for anyone, again, especially for anyone here, which is a members only stream. Especially, I appreciate it so much. But again, you got paid. You gave a super chat. You can leave it at that. That's okay. Raptor isn't even that old. He never played any of those Unk games. Yeah. How old do you guys? Some of you know how old I am. Please, for anyone who knows how old, don't spoil it. I want people to guess how old I am, because you might be a little surprised. People tend to be surprised how old I am. For anyone who knows, please don't guess, or please don't spoil it. But for anyone who doesn't know, Throw out a guess, and I'll reveal it a little later. Um, the Complete Saga is incredible. Bloody love that game. The only Lego games I would place in front are Lego Marvel 1 and Lego DC Super Villains. Did I own Super Villains? I'm not sure if I did. I know I owned Lego Batman 1 and 2. Like Lego Batman 1 and then Lego Batman like DC superheroes. I'm not sure if I ever owned Villains. And Marvel 1 I'm pretty sure I owned, but I'm not sure if I ever beat it. But yeah, Lego Marvel 1 was fun, but Complete Saga for me, that was like my jam. I know I also got Indiana Jones and Harry Potter, but I wasn't nearly as invested as those. Although actually, my one game growing up, like that, because obviously like I loved Skylanders, I love Disney Infinity, but even before that, my one game, and I don't know if anyone else has played this, but like this was like my game as a kid, was the first Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Some of you might recognize Ultimate Alliance 3 that I think came out for the Switch. The reason why it's 3 is because that was in fact the third game. The first two games came out much earlier and I played those, and the second game was around the Civil War, was based on the Civil War storyline before the movie came out. But that one wasn't nearly as good as the first one. The first one is like the perfect Marvel game, in my opinion. Of course, like there's other stuff like Insomniac Spider-Man, which of course is amazing. But as far as like the Marvel universe, Ultimate Alliance, the first one, it's unmatched to me. Oh, don't worry, I don't have to go until 6. Okay, that's good. Oh, yeah, you're the same time zone as me, so not for a little while. Yeah. I guess that means Smash is the best F-Zero title. For me, I suppose it would be, yes. Mostly thanks to my coworkers that make it bearable. That's really good. Though I think, honestly, my coworkers might have been able to make it bearable if it wasn't for the fact that, like, the whole job was just very antisocial. Like, there wasn't any social aspect to it, so there wasn't anything like that to keep me in there. Raptor is still a lad. Ah! All these inside jokes, I love it. You are as old as me. Raptor is older than time. Sure, yeah. Looks 26 or 67. Okay, one of those might be correct. I forgot I wasn't on my fucking alt. Right. Yeah, because you're doing it through the other account. Right. Yeah. You'll have to do everything through this account. But thank you so much for showing up, Zero. I appreciate it. But okay, that's probably all the age guesses. So I will say that I am 24. I am turning 25 in a little over a month. That really scares me that because no one warns you how quickly you go from like 18 to 25. I still feel like I'm like 20 or 21. Like it is ridiculous to me how fast this stuff goes. But yes, I am 24, almost 25. Next month I will be turning 25. So I'll just answer that for now. Also, thought for some streams, maybe we can individually rank the episodes in each Death Battle season. Yeah, maybe that could be, that's an easy idea to do for a stream, because again, for what I'm trying to do for this this year is do a stream every month, and every other month is the ballot banters, where I do the stuff that you guys submit. I do ballot banter for that, so that's every other month. And then for all the other streams, so for every intersecting month or every alternating month from that, it would be whatever we want to do, right? Like kind of like what we were doing, like kind of the events that we were doing last year. So that is something we could do for one of those. Although, like I've said before, like ranking like every Death Battle episode more or less, that kind of scares me. I don't know how much I want to do that. I've had ranking videos for Death Battles since season 7. And I did actually rank season 10. I did that in my 2024-2025 stream. I also did rank season 10 for anyone who missed that. So I've ranked everything from season 7 to season or to now amongst each other, like in those specific times. Not all of that's going to be totally accurate to today, though, for sure. I could do stuff like that. I'll have to think about that. One of my closest friends played Ultimate Alliance 2. I remember when I played Ultimate Alliance 2, you could either choose between Captain America side or Iron Man side, and every time my brother and I went through it, we did Captain America side. because we agreed with him in the comics. But I was saying to him at some point, like, don't you want to try Iron Man side just to see how it is, like, or how it's different, or like just like get a different game, essentially, like a different experience. But he never wanted to do it, so we never played Iron Man side. I still think the first game is much better though. I dislike Insomniac Spider-Man for one reason only. It's locked behind PlayStation exclusivity. Yeah, no, that's totally valid. That sucks. I remember having one of the Ultimate Alliance games on PS2, don't remember which. If it was one that was based on the Civil War conflict, that would have been Ultimate Alliance 2. If it was one that was about like trying to beat Doctor Doom and him eventually stealing Odin's powers, and there was like a lot of different characters in it, like yeah, like Arcade, like that was a major thing. Like he was a major villain for it. And also like Loki, Mandarin. That was the first game. That was like a more all-encompassing Marvel experience to me. Lucky number, don't fail me now, Raptors 27. No, no, no. 24, almost 25. Most people tend to guess older than I am. And I don't really know why, but that's the way it tends to go. Mira, you got some nerve showing your face around after getting cooked by X23. Oh boy. Were you guys streaming something earlier in the Discord? Is that what you're referring to? You were doing Marvel Rivals, I think, or something. Yeah, that makes sense. You lost more than me. No, oh boy. Take it somewhere else, guys. Okay. Not a bad idea. I would be pressuring him hard to put TMNT Battle Royale in S tier. Yeah, the best episode ever, right? When is the live battle banter again? Very good question. So the way that I'm planning on doing this is that every stream, like for all the monthly streams that I do, I'm going to try to do it the week before every new Death Battle release. And that's going to be starting for the next Death Battle release, right? So like 3 weeks after Ichigo versus Yusuke is, and then 1 week before the next Death Battle is going to be the first ballot banter. That's going to be the first one. And then it's going to be every 8 weeks after that. That's going to be every next episode because, again, it's alternating between those streams and other kinds of streams. So that's the way it's going to go. I see the $5 super chat. I'm going to go all the way down there first, and I'll scroll back up. Thank you so much, Alex Chen, for the $5. I appreciate it so much. Let me give that a little heart. I totally understand what it's like to feel old. I turned 33 recently. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, that's not even that old, right? Like, when you think of the grand scheme of things, that's not that old, but it's the rate of the passage of time that makes you constantly feel younger. It is scary to me to think, like, how long ago for example, Avengers Infinity War and Endgame were. That was longer ago than it should be, in my opinion. COVID, I think, really messed some things up for us. I think that's really the I think that's really how it is. Like it kind of made things. I know like people say once you get older, things start feeling like they're moving faster. But I think especially COVID afterwards, it kind of just put life on fast forward. And especially like when you're not going to like school anymore, like waking up for something specific, like the if you sleep in, for example, like I know I have a problem with sleeping in sometimes, then you literally have less of the day to experience, and that makes things go by quicker. Or if you get a job, then the monotony of everything makes things go by quicker, right? Like it's ridiculous. There's no way to win. I also see another super chat. Thank you again. I'll make sure to scroll back up and get to all the other things. But of course, I have to prioritize the super chats. Again, thank you guys so much for the super chats. You guys are amazing. Give that a heart. Do you have any predictions for what the next episode will be after Ichigo versus Yusuke? Naruto versus Luffy would be such a power move. While I agree with that, I don't think they would do another anime versus anime episode after Ichigo versus Yusuke, and technically Ash versus Yugi was the episode right before. So I think there's a decent chance it could be either Gru versus Megamind or Aang versus Traveler. Although I know there's the new Avatar movie coming out. Are they going to try to like delay that until that point? Now, I actually don't know. But we haven't had cartoons for a little while, so there's part of me that's thinking it could be Gru versus Megamind next, but they could also be extending that out a little further. If there's anything else for like literally like the next one, I don't know, maybe some kind of, I don't know, maybe some other kind of comic episode. I could see them also going back to that, but I don't know exactly what that would be. I think Gru versus Megamind honestly does have a decent chance of being the next one. Um, but I don't know for sure. And I'm only saying that because that's one we know for sure is coming. I'm trying to think what did I actually say in my predictions for maybe Percy Jackson versus Zagreus? Because the Percy Jackson second season just ended. Maybe if they wanna time that as close as possible, perhaps. I don't know. Um, that's another idea that I think is out there. Maybe. Anyway, let's scroll back up. Um, Let me make sure I know where I was. I think the last thing I answered was the live when's the live ballot banter. Um, some people are talking to each other. Don't forget Ultimate Alliance 3 either. Yeah, I played that as well. I don't think I ever finished it, but I did play it a little bit. But of course, the nostalgia and it feels very different from the first game, for instance. Well, for one thing, it feels very different from the first game. But also just the nostalgia, that puts number one at the top for me. As far as like childhood games, aside from maybe like Skylanders, the Lego games, like that is like my definitive childhood game. You were playing Marvel versus Capcom 3. That makes sense. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I don't even know if X-23 is in Marvel Rivals. I don't know the whole roster. Speaking of the latter, I'm hyped for the upcoming Wolverine game. Yes, I really hope that they find a way to do that well. Because especially since with Wolverine's healing, I think it's easy to mess it up, but I think it's also you could get some really cool mechanics around like the healing and all that, as long as they do it well. Y'all making getting old seem scary, and I'm going to be 22 this year. Again, you're young. Don't worry about that. It's not a bad thing to be that old, okay? I want to make that clear. It's not a bad thing to be that old. Again, like whether you're 22 or 33, it's not bad to be that old. It just shocks me how quickly things go. And maybe you're not feeling it. Maybe it's hitting me the most. Maybe you're totally satisfied with the rate that things are going. And if so, that's amazing. For me, though, it feels a little too fast. That's all it is. Um, I'm already in my second semester, first year of college. COVID really hit hard. Well, yeah, that means for you, like COVID would have been like when you were in high school, maybe even middle school. Yeah, I can't even imagine. For me, it hit in my first year of university. Like I did my first semester completely, in person and all that, but then halfway through the second semester, it hit and everything just kind of got messed up. So yeah, but it would have hit like in different ways for different people. Yeah. Oh crap, the new death battle is this Sunday, isn't it? Yes, it is. It is, exactly. Yes. Ichigo versus Yusuke comes out on Sunday, and then what are the plans? So like this, so I guess I can give you like a little snapshot into what I'm planning for this week. Or not for this week, for this month more so. So obviously Ichigo versus Yusuke is coming out this Sunday, which means I'm going to try to do my reaction, my prediction as fast as possible. And then the week after that is going to be hopefully the Death Battle Dream season that was being built together from my Discord. I have all the matchups already planned for that, but I still got to write it. I probably should have more of it written than I already do. So it's kind of whatever, but I'll have to get on that. But hopefully that'll be next week. If I have to delay it a little bit, then I will. And then hopefully another video coming out between then and the Ballot Banter live stream. And then we do that, and then the next week will be the next death battle, right? So that's kind of like what my next month is planned to be. And it's going to go kind of like that again, where it's like you have the death battle prediction and the reaction, and then the week after that, or the next 2 weeks is either going to have one or two videos, depending on what I'm able to get out. And then the week after that would be the stream. So including the stream and the prediction and the reaction, I'm trying to average 4 or 5 videos every month. Kind of similar to what it was last year. Time, huh? Thanks for going way too fucking fast. Exactly. I hope they put. 1 second. I hope they push Aang versus Traveler back until the latter gets their final element, considering them being masters of their elements and the whole appeal of the matchup. Yeah, I can understand that too. Do we know when that's going to happen though? Because if we don't have a good idea of when it is, then I don't know how far back they can reasonably push this episode, right? If they've confirmed it. Like they probably don't want to push it back that much if there's not like a really good reason to, or a really foreseeable time that they can delay it towards, right? Give all the villains carbonadium swords. Problem solved. Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean, the adamantium skeleton is still a problem, but as far as the healing factor, yeah, that would help. Seventh grade going into eighth grade. So yeah, like the middle school years. There's one thing I'm not hyped for GTA 6. I mean, the hype is basically dead for that at that point. I do not blame you whatsoever. Honestly, I don't think aging is scary. Aging comes with new experiences, wisdom, and memories. At least that's how I like to think about it. Absolutely, yeah. Just as long as you make sure you're getting the most out of your life. Um, I kind of feel like I'm in this stage of my life though where I'm kind of stuck at the end of the beginning. You know what I mean? Like I feel like because trying to like move out or like get enough money to like yeah, like move out, buy like some kind or rent an apartment, you know, something like that, like it all feels so fucking like terrible now. Like it's so difficult to do with the current economy and especially now that like it seems like nobody's hiring anymore. Like it is absolutely insane to try to get to that point, but like I feel like I'm stuck at the end of the beginning of my life and I want to move into the middle. Like I want to move into the middle of the sandwich, the real meat of what life is. And I feel like I'm kind of still stuck at the end of the beginning. And I want to move out of that, but it is so hard to achieve now, and it's crazy. I don't think aging is bad. No, I agree. Like, I don't think aging is a bad thing inherently, as long as you can make the most out of it. And right now, it almost feels like I'm being forced to not be able to make the most out of it. And don't get me wrong, like I could probably get out more. I could probably work to make the most of it a little more than I am. But I also do firmly believe that the way life is right now, it is actively working against a lot of people in that regard. Have you seen the 2017 Logan movie, by the way? Is my favorite movie of all time. Yes, I've seen it. I've seen it at least two times. Fucking fantastic movie. Yeah, I love it. That movie made me tear up. Yeah, same. I I think I was I expecting I remember like the fact that oh spoilers by the way. The fact that both Charles and Logan died. I think like I remember I expected one of them to die, but did not expect the other one to die. I didn't think both of them were going to die. But the fact that both of them, like, I think it was handled beautifully. Like some of the Fox movies, you can argue, like the X-Men movies, you can argue like the quality of them. So there's definitely highs and lows. But Logan just feels like a masterfully made film that is just leaps and bounds above most of the other movies. It's crazy. The thing that scares me about aging is just how much faster time goes by the older you get. 1 minute, I'm just turning 18, then boom, I'm old enough to buy alcohol. Yeah, unfortunately, that phase is not over. And I don't know if it will. I haven't gotten out of it, so I don't know if it will be over, but the fast forward feeling of life is definitely not over yet. It's crazy how quickly you go from age to age now. Zero knows a lot about being old. Ah, come on now. She's younger than me, the fuck? Yeah, again, like I'm almost 25. I'm older than probably most people here. Certainly most people in the server. I know there are some people that are older, but you know. Can people use super chats to cover matchups in the ballot banter? For example, for people who don't have or use Discord. If you're a member, I suppose you could if you're a member. Just because I should be able to tell who's a member and who's not during the live stream. But of course, I'm looking at it through like a queue on the Discord, so like to try to figure out like when to do it, with everything else that might be a little difficult. Theoretically, I suppose they could though, and of course, anyone who super chats anything, I'm going to put a bit more of a focus on that as well, whether they're a member or not. So I'm going to say that like to a degree, I'll say yes. That like if a member doesn't have Discord and they try to see and they super chat, and they're like, hey, look at this one. Then like obviously I'll put some focus on it. But again, I don't. It might be a little difficult to try to manage that with all the things I'm looking at in the Discord chat. Like when do I shift the focus to like something that was in the YouTube chat? So maybe, but I'll put some focus on it at least, but I can't guarantee anything more than that. But that is a good question because some people might not have Discord. Spoilers says for like a 9-year-old movie. You never know, right? Some people don't want to be spoiled for shit. Okay, sorry for saying spoiler alert. Sorry, I guess I won't. I'll spoil everything that's that old. A wise man once told me that when you hit 60, you stop giving a fuck. I'm heeding his advice till I'm 60, if I even make it to that. Yeah, I mean, like, there are some things in life where honestly you improve the quality of your life if you stop giving a fuck right away. Some things you got to give a fuck about, but not everything. There are some things where it's better if you just don't put so much of your mental RAM towards it, right? And just focus on yourself. Social media is a big one, like comparing yourself to other people. Raptor and I are legit the same age. That's still funny to me. I mean, were you expecting me to be older when you first found out my age? I'm curious about that. I was so shocked when I found that out. My brain couldn't comprehend it at all. Like how old I was. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's the beard or if it's the fact that like I think for sometimes if you're like watching somebody on YouTube, you kind of imagine them being older right off the bat for some reason. I don't know how to explain it, but like there are certainly sometimes where I find out the age. I remember when I was watching Riz Grestar when I was a lad. And when I found out that like at the time, I don't remember what year this came out, but at the time he said like, "Oh yeah, I'm 19, turning 20 later this year," and I'm like, "No, you're fucking not. No, you're not. You like not to say that like he looked old, but like my mental perception of him was like way older than that, right? So yeah, I see we have a super chat. 1 second, we'll skip right to that. Um, one, were you spoiled on a death battle? Two, did you see any Smash Bros. DLC leaks for 4 or Ultimate? So was I spoiled for a death battle? I have been spoiled for death battles in the past. I remember Hulk versus Doomsday I got spoiled for. Beerus versus Galaxia I got spoiled for, and those were kind of reflected in my reactions to those. So yeah, Hulk versus Doomsday. Yeah, Beerus versus Galaxia. There might have been other instances, but usually I don't get spoiled for death battles, but it has happened before. And I think also for Bowser versus Ganon, I might have gotten spoiled for that one as well, but I wasn't doing reactions at the time. And also, did you see any Smash Bros. DLC leaks for 4 Ultimate? Well, I got all the DLC for Ultimate. I never owned a Wii U, so I only ever played a Smash for the Wii U. I only ever played that at a friend's house. But did I see any leaks? I don't know if I ever saw any of them earlier than when they officially got announced. Probably not. I just wasn't like as like keeping such close track of that stuff, you know? So probably not. I don't think I ever saw that. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. Like honestly, I know I keep saying it, but like it blows my mind. Like amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyway, let's go back to where we were. What about members only posts? Could that work? Members only posts. Do you mean like on the community tab, or maybe describe more what you mean? And do you mean like during a live stream or something? I'm interested in that. Describe what you more so what you mean by that. Or I'm reading more. You already described it. I just didn't read it. Like in the community tab, instead of just using a super chat to spend money for it. I mean, theoretically, yeah. I don't know if I would talk about it like, well, if it is members only, theoretically, I guess I would want to put some more thought into this, but and again, I wouldn't want to do it I wouldn't want to do it so sporadically, like maybe I would do the Discord chat and then maybe move over to the YouTube chat afterwards and kind of have it like more official, so to speak. Like I don't know what's official, but like, you know, have it more structured, I think is more so what I'm saying. Have it more like that. But that's an interesting idea as well. That they don't even have to super chat. Yeah, they could if they don't have Discord, they could just do it on that. Of course I have to find them and all that. But yeah, that's an interesting idea as well. I might, if I was trying to implement that though, I might want to make like an announcement for it. But so far I haven't heard anyone say like, oh, you know, I don't have Discord. What am I supposed to do? I haven't heard anyone say that yet. But maybe there are some people who would be like that when they see what, you know, the ballot banter stuff. So maybe when we do the first ballot banter, there's enough people that are like, oh, I can't do this, and maybe like for the next time we could try to implement like a YouTube post thing for that, potentially. And people don't have to join the Discord. If they're not interested in the Discord related perks, they don't have to join it. That's just, it's for them if they want. Google form or something. Okay, there is also that, yeah. For a non-death battle question, what's your favorite Star Wars movie and why? When I was younger, I think I would have said Revenge of the Sith, which I think is still far and away the best prequel. Now, I mean, probably Empire. Like, I know that's boring, but probably Empire Strikes Back. That's probably my favorite Star Wars. A New Hope, though, obviously is also great. But yeah, that's probably what I would say. Howdy, I'm here. FloofySune, thank you so much for joining. That's great to see you here. Oh, I think Fiction's describing some gameplay. Shite, I hate my phone. I was spoiled for Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man, but to be fair, I low-key did it to myself. Okay. I mean, I guess it depends on like if you're looking through like a specific Discord chat that's like about spoilers, or if you're going on Reddit or something, then yeah, you just got to be careful with that. Have you played Super Smash Flash 2? I played one of the Smash Flashes. I don't remember whether it was 1 or 2, but that was a while ago. I think I played with one of my friends on a school computer a few times. So I played one of the Smash Flashes. It might have been 2, but I don't know for sure. I will forever mourn that Crash Bandicoot didn't make the cut for Ultimate. The one I really wanted was Dante, actually. Although after they started introducing so many sword characters, it's like, yeah, do I really want Dante anymore? But it still would have been cool. I think he has like a perfect move set to incorporate for Death Battle, just because he's such a versatile character. Browsing a Magic the Gathering card for deck building right now, my mistake. Oh, I see. Yeah. That's funny. One of my friends is really into Magic the Gathering. He really tried to get me into it, but like honestly, like it's a little too pay to win for me. Like if you want to make like a good deck, you got to spend some real money on that, and like I don't know that. And plus, like he had a lot of other friends who were like really into it already. It's like I always knew I would be like behind if I tried to do it now. It seems like a fun game, but a little overwhelming, and again, like a little too pay to win for my liking. Looking forward to finally being around for the start of a death battle season. Great, yeah, I'm excited for Ichigo versus Yusuke for sure. I'm glad you are as well. Yeah, hopefully it's a really good time. That's worse than my most wanted character being a me costume. Okay, Dante, because at least Dante got some representation, but Crash didn't get any. But he is in Smash Remix. Okay, yeah, so we both wanted Dante. That's cool. Yeah, he does have the costume. That's fair. I wasn't really into the costumes though. Like for me, as far as Ultimate goes, I really just play Wolf. He's my main. I always looked for the spoilers for Death Battle. I was too impatient. I assume you mean you don't do it anymore, but I think I've seen people like that before. Yeah, where they're a little too impatient and they just want to. And like if they're fine with being spoiled, that's cool. I think being spoiled for something though is like the worst thing as far as like how you consume entertainment if you don't want to be spoiled. So like I hate it whenever I get spoiled for like anything. I think you really want that genuine reaction to everything, and the genuine absorption of the media, right? After Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man utterly disappointed me. I do hope WWE gets another matchup in Death Battle, Undertaker being a prime example. Yeah, I mean, I think Macho Man versus Kool-Aid Man did exactly what it was supposed to do. The problem though is that what it was doing, or not what it was supposed to do. It did exactly what it was trying to do. The problem though is that what it was trying to do wasn't really what people wanted, right? Too much of an emphasis in the wrong things, in my opinion. And that kind of just means that other episodes are better to me because they do a really good job of the thing that we watch Death Battle for, right? Whether or not you agree with the outcome, I think even agree with the outcome, which I know not everyone does, but like even if you agree with it, that still holds true. I like Undertaker versus the guy from Kiss. Okay, interesting. Again, though, like, is there like I know with WWE, like, there's kind of like a fictional version of those characters, like the way that like WWE works. It depends on though, like, what other characters you're using. Like, is there like a fictional version of that Kiss person? because Death Battle is not going to be using like anything where it's just like just the real person anymore for sure. Oh yeah, Rogue One's definitely not like my favorite Star Wars movie, but yeah, that one's very unique. But I would not put it like on the same level as like A New Hope or Empire. Definitely not. I might even still put Revenge of the Sith above it, but that's hard to say. Revenge of the Sith is very nostalgic to me. Again, I do unironically think it is the best prequel, but I know it does also have some of the same problems that the other prequels have. For the record, I am one of those people who think that the prequels overall are not great movies. That's just me though. But I do really enjoy I do really enjoy Revenge of the Sith for what it is. You're an excellent connoisseur of Star Wars movies, then Raptor. Okay, thank. Well, I don't know if you got the whole prequel thing. Maybe you disagree with that, but thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know how you agree with everything of my opinions. Again, I could spend like a lot of time talking about my opinions on like every Star Wars show that I've seen, every Star Wars movie, but we'd be here all day. Dante is one of the characters who would benefit from Smash 4's custom moves the best. Yeah, actually, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see him having like a very special mechanic, kind of like Little Mac or Terry, like maybe some kind of meter, like energy meter or something. I think he definitely, you could have implemented something like that for him easily. But you don't have to do that either, right? Like you could handle him a bunch of different ways. Just play Magic the Gathering Arena. It's free, just cost you time. That is the way I would. Okay, yeah, that's the way I would do it if I was really devoting time to it, for sure. Thank you for that. Makes sense. As one of the three Min Min fans on this planet, that's fair. Min Min is so fucking annoying to fight against, but to be fair, I can say that for a lot of characters. Hero I found was really annoying to fight against. Yeah, not anymore. LOL. I never told anyone though. It's hard to remember, like, try to read messages that are like, I don't want to like intrude on anyone's conversations they're having because I know not all of these messages are for me, and that's okay. I just got to make sure I'm reading the ones that, actually benefit from me saying something. I remember the day when Adam versus Ant-Man came out. I came back to school to see it. But when I opened my YouTube, the first video I saw was Raptor's prediction for Skyrim versus Dark Souls. Yeah, I don't do that anymore. I did get a not like a ton of complaints, but I got some complaints about, like, oh, I'm seeing your video first, or I'm getting the notification for the next one. And I did feel really bad about that because I wanted to get my predictions out as quick as possible. But sometimes it's like, well, I'm kind of just making the experience worse for other people. So nowadays I do my prediction video a day or two after the previous episode release, depending on how long it takes me to do it. And it's good because then it means like I'm not like necessarily rushing too quickly, right? Like I'm not overlooking anything that maybe I shouldn't be overlooking. I'm taking the proper time to do it. So I do apologize for that. I apologize to anyone who got spoiled because I'm sure it was some people. And even if there were some people that didn't vocalize it, there were still probably some people who were kind of annoyed by it. So I do apologize. The only ultimate costumes that were worth it, in my humble opinion, were Sans and Cuphead due to them also bringing banger music tracks. Again, I wasn't really into the whole costumes thing. Like I didn't get. I'm scratching my nose so much. I'm sorry. I wasn't really into the whole costumes thing that much, but that's pretty cool. Shantae, okay, cool. The original Smash Flash is a WTF because the original characters like Blade and Blue, those swords, like hedgehogs, as well as the inclusion of Mr. Incredible. Oh yeah, some interesting inclusions for both the games, but yeah, for the first one, definitely. Ew, a white guy. Ew, Jolt the Dolt. Hi, Jolt. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. The OG Smash Flash was your shit? Okay, great. Glad you enjoyed it. I understand, don't worry. No, we're not allowed to respect people's opinions here. You crazy? I wonder who they'll pit Narukami against when Persona 4 Revival release date is announced, so they can ride the Persona train. I mean, I know there is definitely some people that think that Adachi versus Kira could happen. But honestly, like I don't know if they would do Adachi versus Kira now. Now that they've done Joker versus Giorno, I feel like it's kind of just less interesting to talk about. I guess they could do it, but I'm honestly like I think the likelihood for that episode happening has gone down. There are other Persona 4 characters, of course, but yeah, that's one they could use for sure. Can we get a live stream or video of you react to the Star Wars parody series Anakin Shrugged? I don't know if I want to do like live stream reactions. Okay, reactions are a little concerning to me because Death Battle does not like give me copyright strikes or copyright claims anymore for like reacting to things. Like they sometimes they would give me a claim, and I think it was more automatic, but that doesn't really happen anymore. And I don't even care if they demonetize it. I just want the video to be public, right? So that's fine. But whenever there are other things I could potentially react to, I'm a little concerned about if they're going to claim it, or worse, if they're going to strike the channel potentially. That's why most of my reactions these days stick on Death Battle, because I know for a fact that I'm not going to be putting my channel in danger by doing it. So I'd have to do some more research about other stuff I could potentially react to. What is your opinion on seals and sea lions? I assume you're referring to like the literal animals, and that's not like some kind of anime or something. Seals and sea lions. Yeah, they're cool. They're cool little creatures. I don't really know what else to, I have I seen them in person? I guess like would they be at the zoo or the aquarium? I guess maybe have I seen them at the zoo? I don't know. They're cool. They're cool. I don't really have much to say specifically, but like I don't really have like an opinion on them, I guess, but I think they're cool. Yeah, I take back my statement as I love the prequel movies. They got problems, no doubt, but they're perfect in a flawed series. Also, Palpatine and Obi-Wan's actors gave perfect performances. Definitely can agree with that, that some of the performances in those were really good. Some were not good, but Obi-Wan and so Ian McDermott and what's Obi-Wan? Ewan McGregor. Yeah, they both did really good. I enjoy what I enjoy Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Episode 1 and 2, though, for me, I think are still my least favorite Star Wars movies. That's just me, though. I understand some people have strong nostalgia for them. That's perfectly fine. But for me, like, I'm one of those people who kind of saw everyone start to like those movies, like, out of nowhere. Or maybe not out of nowhere, like, after the sequel started coming out. People started to, like, really vocalize how much they like the movies. I'm one of those people that was kind of like, wait, what? Why? But it's okay if you like them. No worries about that. Crazy that Star Wars Rebels, in my opinion, is still Disney's best original work to this day. Yeah, Star Wars Rebels was fun to watch. I watched all of it. It was fun. I watched it with my brother and my dad. We enjoyed it for what it was. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but I did definitely enjoy it. Like like the demographic is definitely not the same as like Clone Wars. That was definitely for like a little bit older. But I don't think that's a problem. Like the demographic is what it is. Like they should make the show they want to make, right? So that's all right. I did enjoy the show. Additionally, the lightsaber combat in the prequel is the best of the entire franchise when it comes to live action content. No clue how much of a hot take that is. I think sometimes I can agree that like yes, like the choreography is really good. I can think of some moments where maybe not so much. Like one of the ones I think is Anakin and Dooku's battle closer to the end of episode 2, like before Yoda steps in. Once Yoda steps in, the choreography I think gets better. Anakin and Dooku though, like that one, like for example, that one scene, I remember some of the choreography not being amazing, at least in my opinion. But there were some moments for sure where the choreography can get quite good. Like Maul versus Obi-Wan. Oh my god, from episode 1. That's like the best part of that movie. Also want Travis touchdown for Smash and Death Battle. Yeah. I know Travis was one of those characters I think where they Death Battle thinks maybe they missed the mark for like, getting at like the height of its popularity. But I think Travis versus Scott could be cool. I like that significantly more than Scott versus Kazuma, to be honest. Also, Naota Nendaba I think is better than Kazuma for Scott. But if Travis was getting on the show, I think it would be against Scott. Travis is such a no-brainer. Again, I think I could be wrong. I think there was like some live stream or some chat or something where they think that they kind of missed the mark for it. But whatever. I think for some instances, like Lose versus Ann, where if they can get it out when it's more relevant, they should. But if there are instances like Travis where it's like it's clear, maybe it was, or even a better example. Also, it's getting really dark. I might have to turn on an extra light. But for Cole versus Alex, I don't think it means they shouldn't do it. Even if they do miss the mark, so to speak, miss the point of most relevance. If it's still something that a lot of people want to see. Okay, I'll answer a few more questions, and then I think I'll have to like turn on a light. Because I have my window open and it doesn't look that dark out there, but oh my god, like how did it get so dark? Yeah, Travis versus Scott. Yeah, Travis Scott. That's what you call the track, right? Travis Scott. Anyways, it must part ways. It's been fun. Hope you get a nice bag. I hope you get a nice bag of potato chips with my $2 I sent. Goodbye, Columbo Productions. Thank you, Zach. I'll be sure to do that. Thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for becoming a member. No matter how long you stay a member, I don't know if you're going to stick around for that membership, but either way, no matter what you do, thank you. Adachi versus Kira should happen, but Valentine versus Armstrong seems more likely this year. Well, we know that Steel Ball Run is coming out. At least the anime is coming out this year. Yeah. Also, a same franchise combo happening twice. Doesn't immediately make a match less likely. Star Wars versus Naruto. Yeah, no. I know that they can double up on series combinations. But I think even Liam, I didn't want to say this because I might be wrong, but I think Liam or someone on Twitter outright said that like, when they were looking at like JoJo's matchups or something, they were saying that like Adachi versus Kira is kind of too close to Joker versus Giorno without like the really big question of like, GER being there, right? So it could still happen. It could, but that's just kind of what I've seen. I'm just saying what I've seen. Oh, we have another super chat. Seal meat would taste delicious. Ray, you are the awesome dude for super chatting this much. Honestly, like that is incredible. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go like turn on a light or something. Hopefully this thing doesn't fall over when I go in and do that. Yeah, we got some light. I don't know how this is gonna look as far as. Oh yeah, it's a bit of a hard light on my face. That's not ideal, but yeah, whatever. I only watched one episode of Bad Batch. Yeah, Bad Batch is another one. I didn't watch any of the Bad Batch, I don't think. Kanan's adult voice coming out of the teenage Kanan's mouth really threw me off. I can imagine that. Yeah. I love seals so much. Those fat, cute creatures. I remember seeing a seal show at a zoo, and it was love at first sight. That's awesome. You guys know about the blobfish, right? That guy's pretty cute. Duel of the Fates, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Mustafar are the best lightsaber fights in the entire franchise. Yeah, those are pretty cool. Gotta go, but this was fun. Great first member stream. Yeah, thanks. It's a more chill thing, right? Like that's the kind of thing that we're doing. That's kind of what I expect these to be, as opposed to using my streaming software and having all that stuff out. But yeah, I'm happy you enjoyed it. They definitely missed the hype because I don't even think No More Heroes is going to get more games. Honestly, yeah, I think that's what they were saying, that they're kind of past the point of when it would be best. I think that's why. Speaking of Travis versus Scott, when Travis himself was a Mii costume, they said Smash Ultimate X Travis because of censorship. There was a minor meme about Travis Scott joining Smash Bros. That's funny. I remember there was one stream where I accidentally said Travis Scott. I think I said Scott Pilgrim versus Travis Scott. Yeah, that's one that people keep some people keep reminding me of. It seems unlikely nowadays, but having Ascension Dio versus Infinity Ultron would be sick. Plus, the Infinity Gems need a modern appearance so they can get better choreography and usage. Yeah, that's what I'd be really interested in, actually. It kind of goes back to the fact, though, that, like, Death Battle has used like specific versions of some characters, but like that is still very far and few in between. They would have to like specifically want to do that one, I think. And especially now that What If is over, it might not really draw in as many people as maybe it would have before. But that's one where it's like I kind of understand it because like I don't know if like what would they want to time it for like What If season 3 or something? Like sometimes it could be difficult to time things. With Lose versus And though, I think I don't know if I can make that same excuse for them. I feel like it should happen this year if they want to maximize on the relevancy. A new Scott Pilgrim game coming out soon. Of course, though, like remember Scott versus Kazuma was on the tournament. That's the one that they just might want to end up doing anyway, right? So you never know. It doesn't. Scott versus Travis was the big one before. It absolutely was. Nowadays, though, I kind of think Death Battle may be trying to move in a different direction. I would prefer Travis for Scott more than Kazuma, but that's just the way it is right now. Anyway, it looks like some things are winding down. I think maybe we'll stay live for like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, and then we can start wrapping things up. This was kind of like supposed to be like, like a test sort of thing, but also a hangout with you guys, right? So I think this went decently well. Aside from things getting darker and darker on my screen, I think it went pretty well. This is the kind of thing I would expect it to take more or less this format whenever we do this again. Having Ascension Dio versus Infinity Ultron should have been a season 10 episode in all honesty, to be more relevant with What If. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there are ways they could have done that. But a man can still hope and dream. Yeah, it's kind of difficult because there are some episodes they want to prioritize. Like, yes, that would have been the ideal time to do it. That would have been the ideal time to do it. But like, there are other matchups where they're thinking like, okay, well, this is the ideal time to do this matchup, and between the two of them, they might not want to prioritize like a specific version of a Marvel character from a specific series that doesn't even have that many episodes. Well, it has like a decent amount of episodes, but like confirmed like compared to like really long running stuff, right? So it ultimately just comes down to what they think makes the most sense. Heaven Ascension Dio versus Infinity Ultron is a fun idea, but it is also very much one of those episodes or matchups where I could see Death Battle going the whole series without doing it just because they're not interested in it. Just because something gets popular in the community does not mean it's going to happen even eventually. We always got to keep our expectations in check. I prefer Naota and Ndaba for Scott. No, that's fair. I think both Travis and Naota are good options for him. Better than Kazuma, in my opinion. Gotta hang out with a buddy. See you later, Raptor. I will hold you to your oath. Thank you for stopping by, Fiction. I appreciate it. This is a fantastic stream, Raptor. Can't wait to see what's next. Also, Heaven Ascension over Infinity Ultron should have replaced Phoenix versus Raven. I will die on this hill. I mean, from the perspective of like you can wait to do Phoenix versus Raven later. Yeah, that is very fair to say. Of course, though, Phoenix versus Raven is going to draw in more people. I think just on a wider scale than something like Infinity Ultron. But no, that's fair. That is the one where I think that is the most like expendable to replace it with something else. Phoenix versus Raven. But if you're trying to say, Galactus versus Unicron or Stitch versus Rocket should have got taken out for it, then absolutely not. No. or any of like, Goku, like the ones, that I think are like really, really top tier as well, like Goku versus Superman 3, Scooby versus Courage, Bill versus Discord, all that. I used to like Travis Touchdown versus Jack Kamen, but that fell off a bit for me. Now I have other preferreds for Travis like Jack, or Travis and Jack, like Scud and Izzy Fisher. Also Jack versus Izzy is peak, by the way. Fun first stream, honestly. Hope after Ichigo versus Yusuke, it's Aang versus Traveler. Yeah, I think there are a couple of reasons maybe why they would want to wait for Aang versus Traveler, but I could also just as easily see it be the next one. Oh my God, Ray, thank you so much. You are incredible, honestly. Thank you so much for all the super chats. I can't thank you enough. This is my final super chat. I'll take a double, triple bossy. I'll get triple double bossy deluxe on a raft, 4x4 animal style, extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze, light axle grease, make it cry, burn it, and let it swim. We serve food here, sir. But thank you so much for that. That is great. I know you would fight me if I said Rocket versus Stitch, so I ensured its survival. Thank you. I mean, who knows? Maybe if it wasn't me, you'd be okay with that, but it is me, so I'm happy that that you made sure not to do that. Okay, well, with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. I thank you, especially everyone who super chatted, because I wasn't expecting anyone to super chat for like a members only stream, but to everyone who did that, thank you so much. That is incredible. But yeah, that's I think going to be it for today. Just a few. I love classic SpongeBob references. Yeah, okay, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I don't know how often these things are gonna be, but again, as far as like normal live streams, about 3 weeks from now is gonna be our first ballot banter, and then every 4 weeks after that, it's going to be a stream alternating between the ballot banter and other kinds of streams. So hope you guys are excited for that. And these I'll just throw in whenever I'm available, whenever maybe it's been a while since we did one, because I want to do members only live streams as well. That's literally a perk I gave for all members, so I want to make sure we keep doing those. Have a great rest of your day. Yes, you as well. And yeah, everyone else have a great rest of your day. But yeah, that's going to be it for me. See you later and have a good night.